Throughout the years, women have played major roles in the Filipino society. From the babaylans of the pre-colonial era, the women of the revolution who fought against colonial rule, up to today's women figures who continue to fight against gender oppression. After all the battles and obstacles women in the Philippines have faced, it is important that we know the roots of how strong our women really are. Before the word feminism ever existed, there was the babaylan. The babaylans served as the female political and socio-economic identity that played a major role in the Philippine pre-colonial societies, otherwise known as barangay or balangay. The babaylans' role in culture, religion, medicine, and other theoretical knowledge were crucial in each barangay. They had the right to own property, obtain divorce, and remarry. Women could either be the chief of the barangay or a priestess. They were in no way below the datu, who was considered the leader of the tribe, but instead worked side by side in making decisions and conducting important social activities for the community. The role of the babaylan was not only given to women, but to men as well, who were mostly effeminate or blatantly homosexual. Women's involvement in male-dominated affairs can be traced back to the Spanish colonial rule, to the Philippine-American War, and to the following years. The Spanish friars demonized the babaylan, saying that they practiced witchcraft and were endowed with powers from black magic. With this, the friars were able to take control of women and their bodies through aggressive Christian indoctrination. Although the colonizers suppressed a lot of Filipino culture and practices like that of the babaylan, Filipino women still played major roles in their communities in regards to revolution and liberation of the Filipino people from the colonial rule. Gabriela Silang is best known for being the first female leader of a Filipino movement for the independence from Spain. This is where the present local feminist organization Gabriela patterned its name after. Melchora Aquino, or Tandang Sora, played a big role in the revolution by using her store as a refuge for the sick and wounded. The women of Malolos struggled to disprove that women were destined to stay at home and take care of the children. They demonstrated that women are equal with men when it came to education. The post-colonial years were considered an era of peace and freedom for the Filipinos. After gaining independence from the United States, there seemed little need for women to demand any new reforms. It wasn't until the 1969 elections, known to be one of the dirtiest in the country's history, where things got worse. Women's organizations, alongside students, protested against the corrupt Marcos dictatorship. The assassination of Benigno Ninoy Aquino sparked outrage among many Filipinos overnight. The biggest alliance of women's groups that was crystallized by the Aquino assassination was Gabriela. It was the first attempt in unifying the women's organizations around the feminist agenda. Gabriela had added more specific objectives to the Philippine feminist movement, such as providing a framework or perspective for an analysis of the problems of Filipino women, forwarding women's demands through a 1985 Declaration on Rights and Welfare of Filipino Women, and building an international network of solidarity. At present, the Philippine feminist movement has come a long way, but still has miles to go in terms of gender equality. With the current administration, it has also become harder for the feminist movement to speak up about issues that affect women. The feminist groups and organizations in the Philippines are continuing to resist and repudiate tactics that silence those who fight against gender oppression. It may seem challenging and daunting to speak up because of recent events, but every voice counts in order for us to move forward and achieve a gender-equal society. From the babaylan, to the women of the colonial revolution, to the activists against dictatorship, and to the present-day feminists, there is no doubt that the Philippines has always had strong women. We have history to prove it. We must continue their fight against oppression and towards a more gender-equal society, and to a brighter and more progressive nation.
This is the film during 1976 to 1986. This is purely for the Filipino woman in film. This film and the images shows in the video is the movie camera is an extension of the human eye and as such. It has been vested with the task of amplifying surrounding, flattening, lengthening, deepening, but coloring or even blackening out or eclipsing a piece of portion of reality being acted out before it. Film or making a movie becomes primary way of seeing or a way of telling a story through a succession of images or frames. More than this, film remembers or recalls and then brings before the spectator things or events or aspects of things. For a variety of reasons, ordinary human observers tend to miss entirely or to see without adequate attention to their potential human meanings. Film, then, as a genre of culture, performed for spectators a literal fixing, riveting of her in his gaze upon even a familiar phenomenon, from fixing, riveting, and famine. It brings before the eye of the spectator patterns of sensible phenomena. The true picture of the past flees by, is the past can be seized only as an image which flashes at an instant when it can be recognized and is never seen again. The camera, the true camera, that is always attempts to reproduce the true picture of the past that has flashed by, it thus does through a shot or a picture, or a series of shots or a series of pictures, or simply said, through the production of a succession of images on screen.